So tonight's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta was hilarious. It was full of tons of mess, a whole lot of lies, but this is the type of episode we really needed compared to last weekend, because last weekend was dry and boring and full of Kenya and her drama. But anywho, it started off with Croy and Kim, as usual, talking about sex and fucking and complaining because her house is haunted and she ready to go and yada yada yada. But just a few weeks ago was her dream house. Anywho, Kim's leaving next week, so she really and truly could have left with Sheree. But yet and still, it's just interesting how things have played out with her. She always has something to say about someone else and what they doing and what they don't do. And here she is in a situation where she got to pack up and get going. And she's so stressed, but that's called karma. It happens. Like Candy say, everybody up in her hood, neighborhood, from what Kim say, hey, they own their house. And here she is in her situation. It's just like, watch what you say, you know? I thought it was cute how when Miss Joyce was talking to Candy about staying at her house for 37 years, is it just me? But I felt that Miss Joyce was trying to, throw hints at Candy. Hey, your mama been in her house for 37 years. She ready for you to buy her a new house. Cash. I thought that was cute. But clearly, Candy ain't catch it. Like, mama want a new house. She don't want you to buy her no girdle or take no pictures of her on no car like last season trying to find her man. She want her, she wants you to get her a house or move her into that third house or that second house that you got. I thought that was really funny. Miss Joyce is always cute to see. I am still curious to see how Miss Joyce feels about Todd. Like, at first Miss Joyce was all up in Candy and AJ's relationship, but now clearly they're not showing her opinion on Todd. Maybe she really likes him. I don't know. We'll see. Now, let's move on to Phaedra and Apollo taking their son to get a haircut. I thought that was so adorable. Even though Phaedra, she's over the top. That whole rite of passage, getting a haircut. Look, that's when you turn 1 year old, and it's not a rite of passage. It's just a big thing because you don't cut babies' hair before they're 1 year old. Once you're 2 years old, that is no longer a rite of passage. He just needed a haircut, And she said that Apollo was a master chef, but it looked like he was struggling. Maybe that's what he did in prison. I don't know. It was kind of cute to see Portia and her husband as well. They're an adorable couple. Portia, she's still an airhead. I actually like Portia. I saw a lot of comments on Twitter and Facebook that some people aren't a fan of hers. I like her. Clearly, she's there for the laughs, because she's not the smartest thing. I'm curious to see her interact with the other chicks and how she's going to take on Nene and her big personality. Yeah, she's still an airhead, burning biscuits and all that other rigmarole. I'm going to try not to talk about Kenya as much this episode because I don't want to come off as a hater, but I'm sorry, nothing's going to change my opinion about her. I'm still not a fan. I still think that she's desperate for love, but who wouldn't be desperate for love at 41 years old with nothing besides a USA title? The whole meeting and lunch with her boyfriend and her family, really, like, after 2 years, your family's just now meeting them, but you are ready to have a baby and get married. Okay, Kenya. But did y'all notice she had another pimple on her face? It's like every episode she gets another pimple or another rash on her face. Maybe it's the stress of the cameras. Or I felt kind of bad for her, though, when she was sitting there having lunch and they were eating and the aunt was drilling her boyfriend and he kind of was saying that He's just dating Kenya. He's not really in love with Kenya. And I felt bad because she made it seem to her aunt as if, you know, they were on the same page. And clearly, I don't think they're on the same page. You know, he was kind of making her look kind of stupid for a second. But then once her aunt was like, yeah, we like him, you know, she started smiling again. I think that's her thing. She turned kind of like when she was having lunch with him before, and he was telling her about Candy and how her mood just shut down. But then once he started complimenting her, she got really happy. Like, she's bipolar. I'm sorry. Oh, Kenya, you need help because this man is not ready for marriage, and Bravo is making a fool of you because they are making you look real desperate and stupid. Well, no, you're doing it on your own. They're just taping it. But do better. Do better. Rewind. Back on Phaedra. You know, Phaedra's over the top, and I love it because if Phaedra wasn't over the top with these events, we wouldn't see Dwight. Anywho, Dwight was back tonight's episode, and it was good to see him in his 7-piece suit. Clearly, Dwight got a new nose going on, a new face, and he looks good. He looks brand new. He does. But I love it. I love Phaedra and Dwight. Now, you can give me a spin-off 30-minute show with Phaedra and Dwight throwing events, and I will tune in every week. I'm so serious. I love Phaedra and Dwight together. The party, it was over the top, but it wasn't as over the top as his last party. It was a snooze fest. It seemed like everybody was falling asleep unless that was just good editing on Bravo's part. But yeah, I would like for Dwight to come back and be in the mix like he was the first season. You always have to have a gay somewhere, you know. And he's just one of those old queens. So, done with Portia. I'm pretty much done with Kenya. It wasn't really much to say about her this episode besides the fact that she's still making a fool out of herself. That's pretty much it. Nene, she was messy Nene this episode, and she was giving it. Like, you have to love Nene and everything that she does and say. It was hilarious. But the way she had that recording from Phaedra, and she knew, baby, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get it. Phaedra, you remember, I've said it a few videos before. I wasn't a fan of Phaedra because I felt that she was really pretentious and fake, which she is to a certain extent. I'm not gonna even say fake. I feel that Phaedra puts on, she wants to be perceived as a certain, you know, a Southern belle. And just be you, Phaedra. It's nothing wrong with saying fuck and, you know, using that type of language. And when I heard the recording and I heard her say, you know, I really don't give a fuck, I was like, ooh, that ain't Phaedra. You know, Southern belles don't say fuck. But clearly, Phaedra did. But the way Cynthia called her out, you know, Cynthia was really classy at first, and she was just, you know, setting up the moment. And Phaedra was like, you know, no, because, you know, I don't talk like that. But, girl, you do. Phaedra, understand this. It is nothing wrong with saying fuck. Like, you know, you don't give a fuck. It's okay to not give a fuck. But I thought it was funny. Phaedra was caught in her lie, and I bet she had no idea that that big old ass of hers will make an ass out of her one day. And clearly, on tonight's episode, that ass made a fool out of her. And she can't be trusted. I told y'all, never trust a woman with a big old booty. I'm just saying. Also, did y'all catch how Kim, she damn near rewarded Sweetie 2 glazed donuts for all the work that she did? That's real slave-like. Who gets paid food, donuts, and you working, slaving, sweating your good weave out? Hey, if she like it, we love it. But she got to deal with it. tonight's episode was full of foolery. All I can say is, hopefully next episode we get a little something extra. I want to see Nene a little more. But yeah, I'm pretty much done for tonight. See y'all next weekend.